Ex officio member Richardson, absent. Trustee Russell,
Present.
Trustee Smith,
Present.
Chairman Barry,
Present.
4 present, 2 excused, 2 absent.
Okay. We have a quorum. I was recently advised that Ms. Yvonne Bowski is still a board member. And yes, we all know she had recently passed. I think, according to my information, she's her funeral is today. Probably appropriate for us to observe a minute of silence, please. Okay, thank you very much. So let's move on to the agenda. The next item is comments and suggestions from retirees. Do we have any retirees on the call, on the conference? Hearing none. I'll move
Good
on.
morning.
Good morning.
This is Mary Moorhead.
Oh, good morning, Ms. Moorhead. I'm sorry.
No problem. I just have one comment. I just want to ask that to recommend, because I saw where the comment from the governor after he presented the check to GERS, that he's announcing that there seemingly is no reason why you should not immediately begin the loan program. And I just want to encourage the board members not to do that, because I think that you should at least let a couple of years to establish and reinforce the whole financial and investment situation, and to make sure that all is proceeding well before putting that program back in place. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that comment. We'll certainly keep that in mind and when we approach that subject. I think that's some wise advice you passed on here. So that'll certainly be included in our discussion and our consideration of restarting. As you rightly said, it's not just the governor. I think we've had a correspondence from at least one senator that I know asking for it to be immediately reinstated. And so that's a decision we'll have to make and to ponder, and we'll certainly include your observation in that consideration. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. And no other comment? Is there any comment from active members? Hearing none, we'll go to the Secretaries Minutes.
Just a motion, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, motion.
I move that we accept the Secretaries Minutes from the March 24th regular meeting of the GRS Board of Trustees. I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Trustee Colwood,
Yes.
trustee Dorsey, absent. Trustee Liger, absent. McDonald, absent. Trustee Russell,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Barry,
Yes.
4 yes, 3 absent.
I just called in. Good morning to everybody.
Good morning. More interested, we just getting started. If you have your agenda, we're on item 5, Secretaries Minutes. And we're about to hear a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting on April 1st.
Mr. Chair, before we have the motion, I found a typo from the April 1st minutes.
Okay.
So in a paragraph on a regular session,
Yeah,
the first sentence, the board reported out that the term sheet between GRS and Haven Development LLC was accepted to incorporate amendments agreed to. I think that's supposed to be agreed to.
yeah, that's that, yeah.
So I just like to make that one correction.
Consider that corrected. Any other corrections? So,
Motion,
go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the Secretaries Minutes from the special meeting held on April 1st, 2022. I so move.
As corrected.
As corrected, sorry, I so move.
Second.
Second.
Who's second, please? Who's second? Just 2 people.
Dorsey and Smith.
So who said seconds first?
It was simultaneous, I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Well, it does for the record.
Dorsey.
Well, second, I said second.
Okay, all right. Smith.
Trustee Colwood,
Yes.
trustee Dorsey,
Yes.
trustee Liger, absent. Trustee McDonald, absent. Trustee Russell,
Yes.
trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Barry,
Yes.
5 yes, 2 absent.
I'll call you off, but once, okay.
Okay. Next item, communications and correspondence. You have any, Mr. Nibbs?
1 minute, sir. There are a few pieces that I have. Some goes back to the prior months. I'm just gonna briefly, because most of them are very lengthy. I was trying to see if I can put them up on the screen. Can you bear with me, sir?
Okay.
Okay. 18. Okay. First piece of correspondence is dated February 18th. It was a letter from me to the President of Legislature in regards to Act number 8540, Section 4G. I think this had to do with the settlement agreement. We 4G said upon issuance of delivery of the GRS funding note, all amounts budgeted by the government to be paid into the GRS during fiscal year 2022 are deemed voided, rescinded, and of no further effect. What we are trying to do is we requested that the legislature consider budget amendment before the GRS funding note is delivered to ensure that the Director of the Office of Management and Budget allots the funds necessary for fiscal year 2022 as relates to employer contributions. That was the gist of that conversation. There was no response. The correspondence dated February 24th, 2022 was a letter from Senator Gittens. In this letter, Senator Gittens indicated that he was writing to me to follow up on GRS commitment to restore the loans program to the active and retirees. And that was duly noted. Again, on May 14, 2022, correspondence from Donna Fred Gregory advising me that of my appearance before the legislature on March 16th, he had a zoning map amendment application as it relates to the rezoning of the parcels at the Havenside Mall. Next piece of correspondence dated March 21, 2022, in my response to Senator Gittens. I'm going to read it since it was something that came up in the just a while ago from Mary Moorhead. Dear Senator Gittens, in response to your letter dated February 24, 2022, the GR Government Employees Retirement System Board made a fiduciary decision in 2015 to suspend the loan program because of the looming insolvency. At that time, the board position was that in the event the GRS receives the necessary funding to operate on an actuarial reserve basis, the loan program will be reinstated. It was never the intent of the board not to comply with Act number 7880. We want to assure you that internal discussions for the reinstatement of the loan program started before receipt of your correspondence. As I indicated during your questioning in the Committee of the Whole on March 16th, in my February 24th report to the board, I recommended the reinstatement of the loan program with some limitation, change in terms, and other changes such as moving from version 8 software to a more robust version 10, and the introduction of applying for a loan online. Based on the foregoing and the cash flow and liquidity requirements for personal loans, the GRS management recommends a reinstatement date of October 1, 2024, and for mortgages, October 1, 2025, which is subject to the approval of the board. That was my response to him.
I think I'm meeting. I'm meeting. I can't respond.
On March 29, 2022,
That'll call me later.
I received
Yeah.
Trustee Russell, you need to mute your mic, please.
Okay, sorry.
On March 29, 2022, I received correspondence from Senator Valley in regards to appearing before the Committee on Finance in regards to the system fiscal year 2023 budget priorities. A list of requirements were submitted, and they requested some dates that the GRS may be available. I selected dates closer to the end of the year, which is in August. My selected dates, preference dates were August 8th, August 10th, August 15th, or August 16th. They asked for 4 selection of dates to determine if those dates are available. So the dates that I selected were August 8th, August 10th, August 15th, and August 16th. Okay.
Okay.
Piece of correspondence, March 29, 2022, is a letter from the CEO of WAPA, Mr. Smith, indicating that he was glad to meet with us and our team on March 28th in regards to the outstanding past due amounts that are due. And he indicated to us that there was in no way that the system could make payment, the timetable that we suggested. And he ended by saying, look forward to working collaboratively with you on this matter. So as you can see, the employee deductions, he recommended a proposed schedule of repayment of the employee deductions, contributions due. Its total was employee of $1.9 million. He wanted to space it out going through 2023. And the employer contributions, he proposing to extend it to 36 months, which is 3 years. That was his recommendation. I responded to him on April 1st, relating that we received his proposed installment plan. And I would like to read this into the record, please. Dear Mr. Smith, we are in receipt of your letter dated May 29, 2022. Although the government employees retirement system understands the financial plight of the Virgin Islands Water and Power Authority, the GRS has the fiduciary responsibility to enforce the laws that govern the GRS, employee contributions and deductions. As it relates to statutory employee contributions and deductions, personal loan payments, mortgage loan payments, and prior service, the proposed schedule that WAPA submitted is unacceptable to us for the following reasons. VI Water and Power employees' personal loans and mortgage loans are in arrears since July 2021. The policy is after 30 days of non-payment, the loan becomes delinquent. By law, the GRS can deduct the past due payments from the accumulated employee contributions account. We have not done so because it would reduce the employees' accumulated contributions and jeopardize their credited service. Because of this, over 90 WAPA employee loans are delinquent. Number two, if a VI WAPA employee who is not vested resigns and submits an application for refund of contributions, the GRS will be unable to process a refund of contributions which were not paid by WAPA to the GRS. Number three, if a VI WAPA employee submits his or her application for retirement, the retirement will be delayed because of the non-payment of employee and employer contributions and any outstanding loan payments. The GRS cannot accept the extended payment plan through April 1, 2023 to receive the employee contributions and deductions. The GRS must receive the outstanding deductions immediately. In addition, VI Water and Power Authority has not indicated in its response that it will begin to remit to the GRS the current employee contributions and deductions from the employee's paychecks 10 days after the pay date according to the law. As it relates to employer contributions, untimely receipts of contributions causes the GRS to have to withdraw from the investment portfolio to make up the deficits in the monthly payment to retirees. The GRS cannot accept the extended proposed installment payment of 36 months. The GRS cannot accept a monthly payment plan for the unpaid employer contribution that exceeds 18 months. Again, the law states that all contributions are to be remitted to the GRS 10 days after the pay date. Also, there is no mention in your letter of VI Water and Power Authority making current employer contributions payment. Sincerely, Austin Elmets. That ends the reading of the correspondences.
Let me ask a question. So in your response, did you consider that as a counter offer?
In my response, I indicated that the deduction should be paid immediately as far as the employee and employer deductions. Employee deductions, contributions, and loan payments and mortgage payments. We had asked for an installment plan for the employer contributions. He proposed 36 months. I proposed 18 months. He never responded to me.
Okay. So my question is to you, whether he understands or it's your understanding that was in the nature of a counter proposal.
I think he does.
Okay.
He has not responded.
Okay.
But one of the main thing is how is he going? He has not addressed the current going forward. He's only addressing the past due. And he has not submitted any current contributions.
So they have not begun to. They have not made any contributions since he's been there?
No, sir. We have not received any contributions since June 24th, 2021.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Niv, one of the things you may want to consider, to the extent that there's been no response, is to send them a formal settlement agreement that incorporates the terms of what the GRS wants and see what their response to that is, if there's something they're willing to execute. Because I think that's going to help if you have to go to the next step.
I told you next step was discuss that yesterday.
But that's what I'm saying, before we get there, I would send him a formal settlement agreement.
So if you go back and read his prior correspondence, he said, WAPA, in no way. And he was trying to sit at least 36 months. That's in no way acceptable to us. 18 months, we tried to get him to come. We come to propose 18 months, he hasn't responded. I think he would have responded, and he hasn't made any effort to pay any current.
I think we are all on the same page with the facts, Mr. Nibbs. The question, the discussion now is about the process going forward.
Okay.
The board has authorized you moving forward with legal action. But as we all know, legal action could take years to be resolved. So
I understand what you're saying, Mr. Barry.
I like the Attorney Williams' suggestion. I mean, we're not preventing you from install. All we're saying is hold that, send him a final settlement agreement with a drop dead date. I think we should exhaust. I know we have. I'm not. This is not criticism. I know, but I think we need to absolutely exhaust efforts before we elevate it to the next step.
Well, Mr. Barry, I know this is what I've always, indicated that I was trying to work with him, and the board had chastised me on a few occasions of not following the directive. And my concern is that he has not responded to my request for current contributions. Okay, you can't pay the past now, but let's start current at least, because we have a problem. We have an issue here with WAPA employees.
Yeah, we're on the same page with that, Mr. Nips. We're on the same page with that. I mean, I'm not in any way downplaying the seriousness of the issue. What I'm saying is the reality of the situation is if you initiate court action, everything stops, right? Other than going to all bets are off the table at that point. We're just going to court. So our interest, our primary interest is getting the money. Chances are we got to, I'm not suggesting we don't do it, but I think it will strengthen our position when we do get to court. If to take that intervening step that Attorney Williams suggests. And I know the other board members are here. I mean, we could join in the discussion. I mean, I think the reality is anybody who lives in the Virgin Islands know that the WAPA has a cash flow problem. Now, I'm not suggesting that we take that as our burden. I'm not suggesting that at all. So I'm very clear. But I mean, the next step is going to be a lengthy process. It's not going to get this money any time closer. So the board has already authorized that you take this matter to court. And I'm suggesting that before you do that, that we send them a final settlement offer.
Okay,
A formal settlement agreement.
Chairman Barry, I would send him a letter today indicating he has to respond to me by Monday.
No, that's not what we're trying to say.
But he doesn't have it, Chairman Barry. He's telling me he don't have the money.
Mr. Nibs, please hold a second, please. He's telling you he doesn't have the money, so what's the point of sending him a thing, give him Monday? I mean, I understand you're arguing in a circle.
We would send him a settlement agreement, sir. That's what I'm trying to say, indicating a time certain to respond. And if he doesn't respond by that date, then I follow the board directive.
So you want the response by Monday, that's what you're saying?
Well, Mr. Barry, I sent him this letter on April 1st. It's 21 days in. He has not responded to me. I know he read it because he read it the same day.
Mr. Nibs, listen, I could interrupt you a little bit. When you said by Monday, I interpreted that to mean that you wanted the money by Monday.
No, man, that's not what he's saying.
So that's what I wanted to clarify. That's what I was trying to get from you. Is that
I didn't say that. He has to give me a response as which way he wants to go.
by Monday?
By Monday.
Okay, that works for me. That's what I was trying to get cleared up. Because when I heard the conversation at first, I thought you were saying that he has to pay. Your response would be, give us the money by Monday.
Say that.
So he has already told me he cannot pay. So
Okay.
I'm talking about going, either let me know which way you're gonna go. I'll have to follow the board's directive.
Okay, so I mean, the board's directive is to pursue legal action if you can't if you don't arrive at a settlement. So that wouldn't change. What's being interjected here is a intervening step. And I think that will strengthen our hands a lot if we do get to the point where we have to take it to court. We send them a formal settlement agreement with a time to respond, and he ignored it.
But my main concern, trustees, is the employee portion, because these employees are in jeopardy. The loans are delinquent since July. Actually, we should start withdrawing funds from their contributions to satisfy the debt. We don't want to do that. He said he can't pay it. He has deducted employees' monies from their paychecks and use it to pay his debts. And he's telling me now he can't pay it, and the employees are in jeopardy. Retirees are in jeopardy. Individuals who are not vested are in jeopardy. And the mortgages and the personal loans are in jeopardy.
So how does that change if it got to court tomorrow?
No, I'm just telling you the process.
Well,
Something would have to happen. The court would order him to make the payments of the employee deductions.
by Monday?
I don't know, by Monday, they're gonna give him a time certain.
Okay, that's, if any other board member wants to chime in at this point.
My position is to proceed with a legal action. There's nothing that says if you file a case today, you can't try to work out something along the way. Didn't we just dismiss the case that we had against the government of the Virgin Islands? And I agree with Mr. Nibs. I personally feel that what they did is criminal. To take money out of your employee's check and not turn it over, that's stealing. So I have a serious problem with them not paying the employee part immediately. You know, you could bawl about your cash flow issues. You took money out of them people's check and ain't turn it over, that's stealing. The employee party should pay right away, and then you could argue and fight and try to work out something with the employer contribution, but you steal from them people. You know, I have some other ideas I would like to suggest, but I won't do here, I'll do it in executive session. But I have a serious problem with them not paying the employee contributions immediately.
So do I, just to be clear.
So I like I said, there's nothing that says if you file a case today, you can still try to work out come to some kind of agreement, and then you go back to the court and dismiss the matter. So I personally don't see any strengthening of hand, I think, by sending in this letter, waiting a few more days, you know what I mean, for him to respond. It doesn't say, there's none that prevents you from filing a case now and still sending a letter. That's just my position.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, this is Liga.
Yes.
I wanted to ask Attorney Williams a question.
Sure.
Attorney Williams, is it not illegal to deduct money from employees and don't contribute it to GERS?
That is correct. That is a violation of the law. The law provides that within 10 days of the pay period, those contributions should be made to the system. But let me be clear, I wasn't suggesting that we not proceed with the litigation. My suggestion was, in light of no response from WAPA, that we send them a formal settlement agreement with dates and amounts that we want, so that he will know that this is our proposal. And again, once we initiate litigation, that we could all be in a better position to say to the court that we've done everything that we can reasonably do to resolve this issue. That was the only point of my suggestion.
Okay, but when was the last time he sent the employees' contribution to GERS?
I don't know. That's something either Ms. Jeremiah, Mr. Nibs, or somebody from the system would have to respond to.
Good point.
June 24th, 2021.
June 24th, so it's going to be a yes soon?
Yes, sir.
I mean, this.
So he's not sending current deduction. You know, that's so he has not said, well, okay, I'm past due, but I'm gonna try to make it up currently and then go back and come up with the past due amounts. He's not responding.
This is deliberate disrespect
to
the law. And I don't think.
And the employees have been March?
Right.
The employees
Employees
should be March.
So employees that should be retiring can't even retire now? That has gone beyond deliberate disrespect to me.
Okay.
So I think something should be done and done immediately.
Okay, Mr. Nibs. I think we have a consensus there that you should move forward immediately.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, I just had a quick point. Internally, do we have a process, I guess, with Mr. Nibs? Do we have a process when the agencies are not paying the portion that's supposed to come in? Do we have a process to follow in terms of collection that are waiting almost a year to do something?
I'm assuming you mean as far as collections, putting out something to someone to collect for us?
Either that or forwarding it to the AG to collect.
No, we don't forward to the AG. We continue to bill.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to ask, we're going to continue to bill almost a year. Nothing's coming in. We don't have anything else we do besides that in terms of your processes.
Since I've been here, I've never seen any collections going on like that. I think maybe I have done it for maybe a mortgage, a delinquent mortgage, one mortgage, but we have never done that. We have always been able to somehow come up with a settlement agreement or come up with a installment payment plan.
Okay, well.
This is Jeremiah. May I add something?
Sure.
We have been calling, so we have put our calls to the port WAPA. We did it, every month, every pay period. So we have been in contact with them as well.
Okay. All right. Any other comment?
Okay, I have one. Ms. Jeremiah, you said you have been in contact with WAPA, but what was the response? Not paying for over a year.
The same response that you're hearing from Mr. Nibs, we do not have the monies to pay you. That's what they said. They don't have available funds to pay us.
Okay, well, I support Mr. Nibs and send out the correspondence.
The correspondence or the court action? But I think, just to be clear, what we discussed, where we are today is that the board has already authorized Mr. Nibs and his staff to move forward the legal action in the absence of a settlement. What we're hearing today is that there's no settlement and they're ready to move forward.
Mr. Bowery, this is Kathy Smith. If I could weigh in, I was involved in all the Zoom calls with WAPA. They made it very clear, and as Mr. Smith did in his letter, that he does not have the money to pay according to the GRS requested terms. And he gave us what he proposed was his best ability to pay us. I don't think we should waste any more time. I held off with the complaint. I'm preparing the complaint. I think we need to go ahead and file it as we did the last time with WAPA, and then we got a settlement agreement. I think we're just wasting our time. They said they can't pay. They're not going to make it a priority to move things around and pay us as long as we continue to sit back and accept it. We need to move forward with the complaint, and then I think we'll get more action on their part. And just to answer Mr. Dorsey's question, we did file lawsuits in the past against WAPA and against Juan Louis, which resulted in settlement agreements. We also went to the U.S. Attorney's Office because of the employee contributions being withheld before, and the U.S. Attorney was not interested in dealing with this kind of case. And so they just said they weren't interested. And that's why we haven't pursued any legal action for criminal action, I guess, against them taking and converting the employees' money to their own use, that they deduct the employees' deductions to their own use.
Okay, Chair, I have a response to that with Attorney Smith. So Attorney Smith, is there a higher court we can go to? And is this the same U.S. attorney when you filed before that's in office today?
I don't think it's the same U.S. attorney, but we didn't go as far as talking to the U.S. attorney. No, there's nobody hired. They would have to bring it as a federal charge. We can't go to and file a criminal charge against the agency. It would have to be the U.S. attorney's office. And they just didn't have an appetite for it. And I don't really think anything would change, Mr. Dorsey.
Well, I think we should try and let them tell us no, that they're not going to do something. If that's another option we have. The question I have for the chair, you think it would make a difference if we met maybe board to board before we do something?
No.
No. Okay.
Chairman.
Okay, so I think we've spent enough time on that, so I think, just to be clear, Mr. Nims, I guess the position as of now is that you move forward as directed by the board. I mean, I would also think, notwithstanding that, I think you should still send the letter, settlement agreement letter. That's just, I don't know if are those two incompatible, Mr. Pedro, Mr. Attorney Williams?
No, they're not mutually exclusive. You could certainly, and you can certainly, and you should do both of those things. One doesn't preclude the other.
It just takes more time to do the settlement agreement and then come back and do the complaint. So it delays filing of the complaint because I'll have to stop what I'm doing on the complaint to now do a draft of settlement agreement and then come back to the complaint.
Does someone help you to do this, Attorney Smith? Do you have any help?
The settlement agreement, that's only like a 3-page thing.
The one I will do would be detailed. It will be based like the one we did with other agent Juan Louis. And it was more than 1 page.
Tony Williams can assist.
Right.
I think this is something that I should handle. Remember, I'm on salary. Attorney Williams gets paid by the hour. I don't think you want to incur any additional cost.
How about your deputy?
My deputy is out on leave.
Oh, okay.
I can do it. I'm just saying it takes more time and it just delays it. And we have Carnival coming up next week. And I'm just saying it's a waste of time. Let's just go forward with the complaint. Once we file the complaint, Mr. Nibbs can do his letter. I think we'll get more action once you have a complaint filed and they get served.
That's what I'm saying. This I misunderstand. I thought that's what I said.
No, I was told to send the settlement agreement first.
I asked, hold a second, I asked Attorney Williams whether they can be done simultaneously. And I thought he said they could be. Did I misunderstand you?
No, but I don't see the point of sending that. I mean, you would have to send the settlement agreement first and give them an opportunity to reply before you file the complaint.
That's not correct, Kathy. There's nothing to prevent you from doing both. You could file a complaint first if that's what you want to do. You could file a complaint and send them the settlement agreement at the same time. Or you could send the settlement agreement first and then do the complaint. You could do it any way you want to do it.
And I know, and I disagree. I think we should file a complaint once the complaint is served, and then we can talk to them about trying to settle. And
well, we understand that you have a different position, but that's not the question. The question is whether or not you could do both of them at the same time. Yeah. And I think you would agree with me that the answer is yes.
You can, but that's not the way, and since I would be the attorney of record, that's not the way I would want to handle it.
But
But
because you're
Attorney,
the attorney of record, don't mean that you get to make the decision.
Attorney Smith, don't you think this would give us more footing if we can show the judge that we have tried to settle, have a
No.
settled agreement, and then he, you
No,
know,
Mr. Liga, we have the letters where we propose the settlement agreement. We have a counter letter from WAPA saying this is what we can pay. We sent back a letter to them saying, no, this is not acceptable. You have to do these things. I think we've done everything we can do.
okay.
The
You see,
the last time we
No,
sued WAPA, we
the-
didn't
the-
send them
the-
a settlement agreement in advance of the complaint.
I think.
The
I
answer to
think-
Mr. Liger's question is yes. By having sent them a settlement agreement, it certainly strengthens our position. That's
And
my
I
opinion.
disagree. That's your opinion and
Okay,
I disagree.
fine. Exactly.
I've done other
Well,
cases
if Mr.
before and never sent a settlement agreement in advance when I've sent the complaint.
If Mr. Nitz is another correspondence, I don't see where it'll be a problem for you, Attorney Smith, because you said Mr. Nitz could send out the correspondence and you could go ahead and proceed with the pending case.
That's the way I want to do it instead of sending a settlement agreement.
because the judge might even suggest that you try to settle before the court make a decision. Because I remember the last time.
And
When
yes, Mr.
WAPA
Liga,
Huh?
WAPA will file an answer to the complaint and then the judge will send us to try to settle it. But we still, I mean, we're going to have to work out a settlement, and WAPA has already made it clear they cannot currently pay what we're asking for. So I don't think, and we've spelled out what we want in the letter, which was basically our offer to settle under those terms. So I don't see why we need to send another settlement agreement. We have it in the terms of the letter Mr. Nibbs sent. But I'll do what I'm told, but I just don't think it's necessary. I think it's just a waste of time.
Yeah, but you have a new guy in WAPA right now. You have a new executive director, right? I don't think he got that information prior.
We've been talking with the new director, Ms. Smith. That's who we met with. That's who we had 2 Zoom calls with.
But did he get the documents that you sent?
Yes, the
prior?
letters were sent to him. That's who we've been corresponding with. We waited for him to come into office so that we could talk to him.
But I don't think it holds to resend it again.
Mr. Chairman, we'll do what we have to do. So just in essence of time, we'll discuss this internally with Attorney Smith and we move on.
Okay. All right. I kind of lost track where we at on the agenda now.
It's chairperson's report.
Where the chairperson's report?
That's you.
Okay, I don't really have a report. I'd just like to make a comment at this observation, if you will, at this point. And to recognize some positive events that took place in April. Starting in April 6th, when the government of the Virgin Islands completed the matching fund securitization loan financing. You know, that financing included the GRS funding note. I think at that point, 17,500 members of GRS were able to exhale. They've been holding up breath for a long time, waiting for the insolvency to come. I think by that financing, and specifically the first payment, which started to make it real. I mean, up until that first payment, we're just talking figures and numbers and schedules. But I think the first payment, which was actually if I'm not mistaken, was of $89 million that was deposited in our account on the same day of the closing, Mr. Nibbs, I think. Mr. Nibbs? He's on mute.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. 89.2 million.
Yeah, okay, so all the fake check that you saw in the news, by the time that got put up, the money had been in our account for 2 days before that. So, and that's sort of made this thing real. And just to take note that the second payment is due in October of this year, which is $158 million. October 1 begins the fiscal 2023 fiscal year. So the 89 was 2022, and the 2023 will get in October 1 later this year, for a total of $247 million in this calendar year. I think that now we're talking some real money. So I just like to on behalf of the GRS and its members, to thank the governor and the legislature for stepping up to the plate and making good on their promise to save the GRS from insolvency. On April 11th, the governor signed into law bill number 340222, which became Act number 8573, and that was the act that authorized the rezoning of the land at the mall, which we had requested to accommodate the hotel project that we contemplated. We are not contemplating. So that was a positive step. The rezoning will allow us to move forward with the project. That's going to be, again, an important project.
Allow us to move forward with the ground lease.
The ground, yes, I thought that's what it's okay. Allow us to move forward with the ground lease of 1.6 acres of land to the developer for the project. Just to be clear, GRS is going to be a landlord and the developer is going to be a tenant. Contrary to circulating misinformation. This is going to be a good project for the mall. We're looking at lease payments that's going to run in tens of millions of dollars, which will be a healthy supplement to the money we're going to be getting from the funding note that we talked about earlier. So that was some good news. And then the governor also signed into law bill number 340171, which became Act number 8560, and that's the return to work legislation, and that allows retirees to return to work without losing their benefits, but requiring them to pay into the system. So I think that keeps the system whole. At the same time, it allows the GRS, the government, to be in a better stead in trying to recruit to fill the vacancies. They'll be able to tap into a significantly large retiree pool. So I think that was good for us all around. So those are the comments I'd like to make. I'd just like to close on by saying a special thank you to the GRS management and staff. I know there's a whole lot of hard work that went on behind the scenes that contributed to the success of these efforts. So I'd like to also thank the staff. That concludes my report. So move to administrator's report. Mr. Nims? You're mute if you're talking.
I think you lost him. He lost us.
Mr. Nims?
Yes, sir. Do you see me now? You hearing me now, sir?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, 1 minute, please.
Mr. Bowie and members, I have to step away for a minute for about 15 minutes, okay? I step away from the, okay?
Okay. Just let me know when you're leaving and when you're back.
Yeah, leaving now and I'll be back. I'll announce when I'm back, okay?
Okay.
Okay, my report, as you know, we have not been able to give a report for a couple of months. However, I've tried to, most of the information in my report is cumulative, so it goes forward. Most of the times it builds and builds and builds. So as far as my meetings and presentations, on March 25th, I attended the Havenside Mall Oversight Committee meeting. On the 28th, we met with Mr. Smith, the Whopper CEO, in regards to the issue we were discussing just a while ago. On April 1st, I attended a special meeting, obviously, of the Havenside Development LLC.
Your on-screen is not advancing. I don't know if that's by choice or what.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay.
On the 5th, I attended the GERS bond closing in Washington, D.C. On the 12th, I met with Siegel in regards to ADEC. And on the 20th, yesterday, I met with the Commissioner of Department of Finance in regards to resolving some issues between GRS and Department of Finance. As far as member services, retirement applications as of April 15th, 168. As you can see, in 2022, we received 59. We have not processed any as yet. So in 2021, we received 328. We have processed 229. There are 99 application left for various reasons. As far as the disability life certificates, last year we did send out 231.
Just a quick question, Mr. Nims. The 99 in 2021, you haven't gotten to them, or they're just unresolved?
They're in process.
Oh,
So
okay.
it could be missing NOPR, it could be employee contributions.
Okay.
Yes. So, but they are in process.
Okay.
Okay. 2020 disability certificate distribution, we distributed 231. We have validated 226. 3 were deceased, and we appended receipt of 2 more life certificates. Those retirees, obviously, payments have been suspended until we can verify that they are alive. Since that time, on April 5th, we did send out 262 new disability life certificates with a deadline date of May 30th to respond to us. 86 living in the US, 176 are residing in the Virgin Islands. As far as disability case, I think one time one trustee had asked about the disability case that were pending. There has been a change. There are now 5. Instead of 6, there are 5 disability cases. In-person medical exam should be 0 instead of 1. That's the update. So the total pending disability cases are 5. I think in executive sessions, we do have I think, a review of one of those cases today. Someone had also asked about a return to work. This is the employees who had came back to work and did not advise GRS and had owed the GRS significant amount of funds. Can also look at that on Exhibit B. It gives you a description of the amounts that are owed. Obviously, total due were 1.8 million. We did receive 536,000, so the balance due is 1.2. That's the update. And the employer contributions due from the SAAs is $116,000.
What's the SAAs?
Semi-autonomous agencies.
Oh,
And this is based on the 63 cases that were reported by the IG Inspector Generals on the return to work. Okay. In regards to the teachers and police and nurses, we're trying to get a handle on that. We're accumulating a listing of these retirees who came back under the current law for 2 years, retaining their annuity and no contributions and no calculations of annuity. As far as contributions processing, there are a total of $3.6 million. It's processed from October through March. And as you can see, the regular, those are refunds to the non-vested individuals, 3.3 million. So the bulk of the refunds are those individuals who left the system and were not vested. Our debt benefits from October through March, we have completed 25, and the number of 53 cases are pending. Our retiree, as of April 13, 2022, our retiree roll is 8,701 retirees receiving an annuity. From October through April, the total amount paid out is $141.1 million. To be exact, $141,144,895.08. From October through April, we have added 191 retirees to the payroll. And that same period of time, we have deleted from the payroll 176 retirees. Those are the retirees that have passed on. The retiree payroll for this pay date was $10.9 million. $10,895,150.69. If you go to Exhibit C, I'm going to move to Exhibit C. This is the budget timeline that we came up with for our budget for FY 2023. It's being worked on. We want to submit this to the Budget Committee by August 1. I spoke with Mr. Barry yesterday. We want to do our midterm review either on May 2nd or May 9th to look at the last 6 months, the first 6 months of the budget. Also, we discussed that Nikita Investment has been requesting that we meet with them in regards, obviously, to get an update as to what the board plans are in regards to our investments. So I've asked Mr. Barry if we can probably hold the investment committee meeting and our update of the budget on the same day, since we'll have the attention of all trustees. It's going to take maybe about 2.5 to 3 hours to do those, the investment with meeting with Nikita and the budget. And because we need to have that budget committee meeting because we have union negotiations on the 19th of May. So we want to alert the board and get the board input as to our proposals. So I'm recommending either Monday, May 2nd, maybe from 10 to 12 or 10 to 12:30, 10 to 1, or Monday, May 9th, at the same time to hold a joint investment committee and the budget committee meeting. So I'm just putting it out there. The chairman obviously will be in contact with you in regards to that.
So just to be clear, it'll be a joint investment and budget committee meeting, basically.
Yes, but they'll be separate. What we will do is, since Leo is on the West Coast, we probably try to start the investment committee first. I told him about it. It'll be 7 o'clock his time. He have usually complied with us. If not, then we'll hold the budget committee meeting first and then hold the investment committee meeting, which will be in maybe around 11, so that you'll give him time to get to his office, or 11 or 12.
Okay, so just to be clear, so you're asking for a 2-hour meeting roughly, or 3 hours?
I would say at least 3 hours, because there are going to be questions when it comes to the investment.
Okay,
I know that.
So 10 to. So
I would say 10 to 1.
Okay. All right, so just to alert everybody, we'll be sending out a call from Ms. Coley asking about people's availability. So it would be, the dates are the 2nd and the 9th you're proposing?
The 2nd or the 9th.
Of May.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll send those notices out. Keep going.
The next is the update on the RFP that will be discussed in regular session, and it's on the agenda. Our personal loans portfolio.
Which page, which page you're on in your?
Page 6. It's on the screen.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Mhm.
Member loans portfolio. There are 1,676 units still in process, or still active as of March 31, 2022. There are 875 on 1,598 personal loans, active and retiree combined, and 78 mortgages that are still outstanding, for a total portfolio amount of $18,515,029.05. During this, as of March 31, there were 34 units that were, there was an overpayment of $9,344.47. By this end of this calendar year, approximately 526 loans will be scheduled to mature. I will be forwarding the recommendations for reinstatement of the loan program in a different form beginning FY 2025. I think the conduit to this would be the policy committee for review and consideration. My recommendation is that we discuss this more at length in the board retreat. I'm looking maybe in 2 years when we can see the light and get a handle on cash flow and liquidity. We can do it in a reduced form, meaning that instead of a $50,000 loan, which is the limit, we reduce it down to probably about 10 to start. So we're going to be submitting some recommendations to the policy committee for review, and the policy committee can meet and make recommendations to the board. Okay, that's up to the board. If they don't want to implement, fine, but we're just giving our recommendations.
The
There's been a lot of
I'm sorry, I thought you're done. Finish.
No, no, I would say there's been a lot of inquiry from members in regards to.
Yeah, there's a lot of inquiries from members, I know. There's a lot of inquiries and suggestions and from all kinds of people. My response has been that is when we restore that program will depend on when we make a determination that our investment portfolio is stabilized. So it's not going to be, I mean, everyone needs to keep in mind a couple of things. One is that we lose about $145 million a year. And the first payment is 89 million. So we're still gonna be short. And so until we stabilize our investment portfolio, and I think we're gonna have to have, we'll have to have that discussion also with our investment consultants. Because it will have to fit into we have a dynamic asset allocation strategy in place. And that is what's going to dictate when and how much we could set aside or invest in that loan program.
I understand. I think the law states $10 million. Or I don't think we need to go that high, but $10 million, and as you know, it's a sure 8% return. And also, there's no way we can lose. So I'm just putting that out there. Okay. But we will make our recommendations, like I said, and I understand everything Mr. Barry just said. We'll make our recommendations and the board will make a determination as to when and how the program. We want to do some changes in regards to the system, trying to do it online instead of having 100 people show up every day to try to, and it's only one loan in accordance to the law. I think we were doing it, we were not doing things in prior in accordance to the law. We used to be given 2 loans a year. The law states only 1 loan per year. So plus we plan to reduce the terms and also the amount that the retire or the members can lend at any one time. So we will give our recommendations to the staff. And, the board will make the decision.
Yes, okay, go ahead.
Okay, all right. St. Croix Complex, no major issues other than they have been doing their annual or quarterly spraying of the area. We did have some remediation done in both offices as far as mold and air that came out. Some areas had to be remediated, including my office. And the St. Thomas Complex, the largest things are the building, the hip roof. They're working on that. It's scheduled to be completed in July 2022, subject to the weather. Air condition project that is anticipated to be completed in the 2nd or 3rd quarter fiscal year 2022. I was speaking with the owner of this company that we have a contract with yesterday. I saw him downstairs and we was talking, and he said there's a lot of things that have to be done that were not considered as far as wiring and conduits and all of that stuff. Maybe Ms. Clendenin knows more about it, but it's something that they did not think that they have to do, but they will have to do. So maybe there maybe have to be a change in the scope of services or something like that. So, and it may delay the completion date. She may want to expound on that based on what he said to me. Generator, we still have an issue with the generator. I think what we did discuss replacing that generator. It has to be repaired. It's a very old. We'll be billing the generator, and I think we need to do a backup generator, a new generator that we had contemplated after the two hurricanes. For the Havenside Mall, the RFP for the warehouse J is out to bid. The new date for submittal is April 20th at 3 p.m. It has been advertised in the papers. You see it just about every day. As far as our rental is concerned, in March, we collected $94,398.32. Of that amount, the rental was $65,326.63. For total collection between rental and electrical, for fiscal year to date is $641,213.29. We do have arrearages of rental of $100,491.16. Electrical, $53,125.75. We did receive, I think yesterday, the amount from Rescare of $1,253.60. So the electrical should be down to about 52 million or 50,000. So there was a payment yesterday of $1,253.60 from Job Corps. So that's where we are with the rentals. The leases, Division of Personnel, Property and Procurement is requiring DOP to obtain a letter from DOF ensuring the validity of the purchase order. Ms. Glendinen?
Yes, Mr. Ness.
Yeah, could you want to expand on that, please?
Good morning, trustees and everyone. The lease with the Government Employees Retirement System and the Division of Personnel and Justice as well has to go through Property and Procurement. So although the lease had, Division of Personnel's lease had the necessary signatures, they require that the lease is accompanied by a purchase order, if you're familiar with the government system. And that purchase order will be for the amount of the lease for a year. The Division of Personnel had secured a purchase order previously, so the Property and Procurement is requiring from them an updated letter from DOF indicating how much money is left on that purchase order and if they need any additional money. So that has been the holdup. They have been working on it. They sent the requests and I'm in contact weekly with them.
It's not a budgetary issue.
No, sir.
Okay, so hopefully we will receive these monies by next month, right?
They don't have any arrears. Division of Personnel pays their rent. It's Department of Justice that does it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what we hope to receive is the letter from DOF indicating how much is left on the purchase order so that Property and Procurement could move the lease forward for final signatures.
Okay. It appears this is the first time they have actually got us involved with a purchase order. I know the system from the other side, but we have never had this before. So something we have to adhere to. So we just have to do what we have to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The protocol, as far as protocol COVID, is still in effect with our office. We still require that you wear masks in the common areas and entering the building. So we have not reduced our protocols. As you can see, actually cases are rising. So we feel that we should continue to adhere to the protocols that are in place until further notice. I think that ends my, that ends my report, sir. Unless there are questions.
Through the chair, Mr. Nibbs, how old is the generator?
That generator is at least 25 or close to 30 years old.
Oh, okay.
It used to work very well. It worked very
It
well.
did.
It withstood the hurricanes and things like that, but there's a part that was needed that is not manufactured anymore. So we had to go out and have it manufactured. And also the import supply, who is our outside provider, they recommend that it has a life of maybe the next 3 or 4 years. So we need to 4 to 5 years, I think. We need to at least secure a backup generator because of our payroll and also for our IT. That's the main reason why I think we should get a backup right now.
And how much will be the cost of a new one? You think you need a
One
backup
is
or you
going to
really
be, it's going to be less
one?
than, yeah, we looked at, because, you know, HKT in their proposal, they had looked at some of the sizing that we had. It's going to cost maybe between 300 and 400,000, I think. Shouldn't be no more than that. So we're going to
But
be.
I think that will be sufficient than a backup, right? For right now?
Yes, we need, yeah, we have, it's the same load amount, so it's okay, but we will need to have a backup. As a matter of fact, we are thinking about getting a smaller generator for payroll and IT, because we don't want to ever miss a payroll, and we want IT has to stay up, because right now, you know, if the Whopper goes down after a period of time, our batteries, you know, they have a certain amount of time the batteries go down, and you know, we lose IT. So we are thinking about a smaller generator just for those 2 areas plus a backup. Okay.
All right,
So
thanks.
that will cost us more than maybe $500,000, maybe less than that. But we are looking at it. We have been in discussion, and we're going to put it in the budget coming up soon. If we have to do it before we have a new budget, we'll just have to ask for supplemental budget to increase the FY22 budget and move forward.
Okay,
Okay.
All right, thank you.
okay.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. That ends my report. There are no more questions.
Okay, so Ms. Jeremiah's turn.
Committee reports.
Oh, I'm skipping. Committee reports, do we have any? Are there any committee reports? That's a no answer. Treasurer's report.
Good morning, Board Chair, other trustees.
Good morning.
I will share the screen. This is the government employees retirement system schedule of receipts and disbursement for the month ending March 31st, 2022. I will do a highlight of the major areas. So for our loan repayment, for the month of March, $957,220. Year to date, $5,320,608. For our employer retirement contributions, we had $8,814,711. Year to date, $48,624,215. Our total collection was $14,627,575. Year-to-date collection, $80,468,229. For our, For our disbursements, we had annuity payments of $22,329,168. Year to date, $133,844,873. Administrative expenses, 1,157,417. Year-to-date, $6,313,031, for a total disbursement of $24,333,315. And year-to-date, $144,700,064. We have drawn down from the loan portfolio 65 million up to March 2022. Our Havenside Mall receipts and disbursement for the month of March 31st, 2022. Rents from Havenside tenants, 216,953. Year-to-date, 1,245,148, for a total collection of 220,889. Year-to-date, 1,266,932. We have expended so far for Havenside Mall, 188,662 for the month of March, and year-to-date, $1,381,081. And that ends the reading of the schedule of receipts and disbursements.
Okay, just looking at the rents 22 versus 21. That's a good sign. That says that people are coming back. Is that what that means?
Yes. Means that I guess the tenants you're looking at Havenside Mall,
Yes.
the tenants are paying, they're paying, so that's a good sign that things are coming back.
Okay. Just briefly, did we lose any tenants at all? Anybody know?
I want to say yes,
Yes,
but I
Mr.
will leave
Bowery.
that to Mr. Nibs.
Mr. Bowery, it's in my report. If you look in my legal report, you'll see under Havenside Mall, I have listed the tenants we've lost.
Okay.
What happens, some of the tenants have maybe 2 or 3 stores, they're reducing, giving up a store, or so we did lose tenants, yes.
Okay. Okay.
We need to have the board approve the treasurer's report.
Yeah. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Carwood,
Yes.
trustee Dorsey. Trustee Dorsey. Absent. Trustee McDonald, trustee Liger,
Yes.
trustee Dorsey,
Yes.
you're approving the treasurer's report?
Yes.
Trustee Liger,
Yes.
trustee McDonald, absent. Trustee Russell,
He said he had to step out, so maybe he's not.
oh, absent. Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Bowery,
Yes.
5 yes, 2 absent.
Okay. Treasury report is approved. Investment officer's report.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, other trustees. Just 1 second, I'm trying to share my screen here.
Good morning, sir.
1 second, Mr. Chair. Sorry, I had to adjust something here on the settings. That's not gonna happen. Okay, Mr. Chair, in order for me to share my screen, I have to reset a setting on my computer, and if I do that, I'll have to reset and come out and come back in. So,
Whatever you think.
yeah, I don't. I'll have to. I'll
You
have
want
to.
me to share?
If you could,
You want me to
please,
share?
that'd be great. Thank you so much. If you could set it into full screen mode, with Jeremiah. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's see.
One thing with technology, you could do all the preliminary checks and balances, and still something else to come up.
Yeah, it's not.
Try view.
It's
Go to
not.
try view, and it should have an option for full screen.
Yeah, but that's what he's saying. It's in.
It's up, and I'm seeing the screen.
It's as far as I think it is full screen because I could see the whole thing.
Screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on.
Better?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Thank you so much. Okay, so this is an update of the investment portfolio as of March 31st, 2022. As Mr. Nip stated earlier, we haven't met. Well, we've met, but we haven't had a chance to discuss performance for the previous couple months, and a lot has happened for at least the first quarter of this year, as our markets have been very, very volatile on both equity and fixed income side. Typically, a normally sleepy bond market is seeing some of its worst losses in years, as markets once again reset to expectations set by the Federal Reserve and their anticipation of raising interest rates going forward. The latest back and forth around how much the Fed will raise rates have the bond market shifting into a higher and faster mode for interest rates, thanks to inflation remaining elevated more than most investors expected. And this dynamic has been worsened, as you know, by the spike in oil prices, primarily after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. All that to say, the results for the first quarter of this year and for this month ending March 31st, and also for basically the quarter beginning 2022, the results have been that yields have moved in the opposite direction of bond prices, of course, and have been rising at a faster pace than it has in recent years. As of, I think today, current bond yields are now as high as 2.87% on the 10-year and 2.62% on the 2-year. And as we know, bond yield and bond prices move in the inverse directions. As bond yield prices rise, as bond yields rise, bond prices fall. So, having said that, total planned return for the month ending March 31st, 2022 was down -1.6%. Total fixed income was down -2.2%. Slightly outperformed its benchmark by 0.6%, and I think that outperformance was primarily based on our cash position. I think we've held about 15 to 20% of the portfolio in cash, so that has actually helped the portfolio and helped performance. Total alternatives was up 0.7% for the month and underperformed its benchmark by 3.3%. Our one active manager, Pew Capital, they returned -2.8% as they track the Bloomberg US Ag pretty tightly. So, and this slightly underperformed by -0.1%. What that translated to in dollar activity, Ms. Jeremiah, if you could scroll up. Thank you so much. So we ended the month of March at approximately 358.9 million. This amount excludes the members loan program and our office complexes. If you look at the record of asset growth, we began the month at 364.7 million. We had 0 net cash flow for the month. So that was a good thing. We had no withdrawals for the month. We had income of 430,000. We had a net unrealized loss of $6 million, which brought us to the ending market value of 358.9 million. If you look at our year-to-date figure, we started at 407.7 million, or 0.8. We had a net cash flow as of the ending of March of roughly 35 million, income of 1.2 million. Again, as I've said, we've had a rough first 3 months of the year that has saw the portfolio lose value in the amount of about 15 million. That brought us to that ending market value of $358.9 million as of the ending of March 2022. As it pertains to fees, of course, we paid no fees for the month. We paid 45,000 calendar year to date, and we've paid about 147,000 fiscal year to date in fees. Just to update the trustees on current activities for the current month, as we all know, we did receive that 89.2 million first tranche of the GERS funding note. We got that on the 7th of April. So with that amount now within the portfolio, as of yesterday, the portfolio value was up to $425 million. I just want to have the trustees be aware that if we also include withdrawals for the fiscal year to include this month, we've withdrawn a total of $85 million. So if we look at it, that $89 million that we got from that first tranche from the note basically helped us replenish all that we've withdrawn so far for the fiscal year. And it also allows us, I guess, going forward, at least until at least for the foreseeable future, we probably won't have to draw from our current securities as well. We should have enough. We should have enough cash on hand at least for the remainder of this fiscal year and going forward. That, Mr. Chairman and trustees, ends my presentation for this month. If we have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Just an observation. Things are messed up when keeping your money in cash is a positive, right?
I mean, we look at cash as also an allocation within the portfolio as well. And there's times when cash is king, and being in cash helps performance as well. So having that allocation that we have currently in cash has definitely helped overall the performance of the fund, at least for the first quarter of the year.
You anticipate we have the need for us to reset our asset allocations, not necessarily for this year, but looking out towards these next couple of years. I mean, the next 3 years, starting in October, we're going to get $158 million a year.
Correct. Yeah, I see that. I mean, as you know, with the dynamic asset allocation, we have basically three buckets.
Right.
So as we as we determine that we have enough cash on hand to meet the short term, we probably would be able to allocate any excess funds, more in more of an aggressive nature going forward. So definitely with that, especially with that 158 million that's projected to come into the plan beginning of the fiscal year.
But I mean, if you look at it, the cash is giving you more return than the others, right?
I wouldn't say, well, for the fourth quarter of this year, I would say yes.
Okay.
I would say yes, but you do have to remember we're also in the backdrop of a high inflation environment.
Mhm.
And as you know, in a high inflation environment, it diminishes the value of that cash as well, where you could, so.
Gotcha. Okay, any questions? Yeah, a motion to approve investment
So
report.
move. So move.
I got a second.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Roll call.
Trustee Colwood,
Yes.
trustee Dorsey,
Yes.
trustee Liger,
Yes.
trustee McDonald, absent. Trustee Russell, absent. Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Barry,
Yes.
5 yes, 2 absent.
Okay. So we have these 4 outstanding reports. Attorney Williams, can we approve those in block with one motion, all 4 of them? Properly worded?
If that is the desire and wish of the trustees, yes, you can.
And anybody like that idea or not like that idea?
Fine with me.
I'm good with it.
Okay, so
Sure.
could I get a motion?
Hello?
You have to spell out in the motion, we have to spell out the reports, right?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
I think trustee Dorsey's trying to get in.
I didn't hear what you said, Chair.
Okay, I was suggesting that we approve those. We have 4 past reports that we need to approve, and I was suggesting that we approve them in block with one motion. Unless somebody has an objection to that.
No, I don't have none. I don't have none.
Okay. So if we could get a motion, and I guess the motion would be to approve, and we need to spell out, approve January 22nd Treasury Report, January 2022 Investment Report, February 2022 Treasury Report. So somebody move it in that fashion, please.
Motion, Mr. Chair.
Move.
Go ahead, Mr. Trustee Colwood.
I move that we accept the investment reports for January 2022, February 2022, March 2022, and April 2022 in black.
No.
Only January and February.
It's January and February investment officers and treasurer's report.
Okay, I move that we accept the January and February 2022 investment and treasurer and investment officer reports in block. I so move.
I got a second?
Dorsey seconded.
Okay. Roll call.
Trustee Colwood,
Yes.
trustee Dorsey,
Yes.
Trustee Liger,
Yes.
Trustee McDonald, absent. Trustee Russell, absent. Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Barry,
Yes.
5 yes, 2 absent.
Okay, thank you very much. New business. That's the SB and Company proposal for audit services for fiscal year 2021 for 5 years. Mr. Nance?
1 minute. Can I wait a minute, please?
No. You're mute, Mr. Nance. You're mute, Mr.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Okay, as you know, our predecessor auditor, Burt Smith and Company term had expired, and the board authorized the administrator to advertise for audit services for the period beginning FY 2021 through FY 2025, for a 5-year period. So in January 3rd, 2022, we issued an RFP. Initially, the RFP was through February 15th. However, we extended, and I'll tell you why. So in all, we issued an RFP from January through the end of March. We advertised in the VI Daily News, the Cinco Aves, Pension and Investments, which is an international periodical, and also on the GRS website. We had tried to advertise in the Journal of Accountancy, but there was a lot of back and forth and not returning calls and things like that. So we had to go with whatever we could get. And there were inquiries, obviously, from SB and Company LLC during that period of January 3rd to February 15th. Also from a local firm, Benham and Hodge CPAs. We received a proposal. The deadline was 2/15. We did receive one proposal, S&B Company LLC. We decided, Ms. Jeremiah and myself discussed it. We discussed it. We felt that maybe we should go back out again and see if we can gain some more attention to the RFP. So what we did, we advised our S&B they did not have to resubmit, but we let them know that we were going to extend the proposal, and the proposal were in. However, we were going to extend. We extended the proposal to March 30th. We advertised in the Daily News and the website. Also, we invited 4 Big 6 firms, Cohen, Resnick, Deloitte, KPMG, Price Waterhouse Coopers. There were some inquiries, no commitments, but some inquiries. We did respond to those inquiries, and we had a meeting with KPMG prior to the deadline, about a week before the deadline. They did contact us a couple of occasions, and we had a Zoom meeting with Jeremiah and myself with the principal of one of the principal partners at KPMG in Puerto Rico. As you know, KPMG was the government auditor years ago when I was at finance. For 8 years I was there. Also, they were the auditors of GERS when just before I came in, and we had some issues obviously with what was going on at that time, and we were terminated. However, on the deadline and date, they did contact me before 5 o'clock and indicated that they couldn't meet the deadline date on time. I indicated to them I could not extend the deadline date because I would have to do it for everyone, and I don't know who was coming in. And so as far as I was concerned, if they didn't meet that deadline date, obviously they're disqualified. They did respond, however, received something from them, KPMG, at 9:44 p.m. that same day. Anyway, based on our evaluations results, S&B and Company LLC, I've given copies of the proposals I've circulated that to the trustees, so they have a copy. S&B and Company LLC was responsive to the RFP and met all of the requirements and qualifications set forth in the RFP. Their main office is located in Owens Mills, Maryland. The experience is very extensive in regards to experience in auditing pension plan. One of their clients is the Pennsylvania Public School Retirement System, which has a net assets of $50.2 billion. Also, Metropolitan Washington Airport employees, net assets of $331 million. Montgomery County Retirement System, net assets of $5.3 billion. And Maryland State Retirement and Pension System, net assets of $55 billion. So as you can see, some of their clients that they audit, that are pension clients, exceeds our operations. The fees, the proposed fees, which are in line with our predecessor fees, as shown on the screen. These are the fees that they have proposed. KPMG, which proposal was not responsive. They were responsive and met all the requirements and qualifications. However, the proposal was disqualified because it was not received on time after the deadline. The proposal, like I said, was received in the mail at 9:44 p.m. KPMG, KPMG does have experience in auditing the pension plans. Like I said, they did audit the GERS before I came here. And when I came, we were in limbo with them because of some issues. We had to terminate. It presently audits the pension system of the government of Puerto Rico. However, if you look at their fees, as you can see, the fees are outside the scope or outside the range of what it would take to audit the GERS. Significant difference in the range of fees between S&B, which is this, and KPMG, which is this. And our predecessor fees were in the range of S&B fees in the beginning when they started to audit. Obviously, last year was $160,000. Prior to that, it was 147 in 19, 2018, 133, 2017, 123, 2016, 116. So they're in line with the fees that were submitted. The fees that were submitted by S&B are in line with our predecessor auditor fees. KPMG fees are way out of line. There's no way it would take so much to audit the GRS, in my opinion. Preliminary due diligence has started on S&B.
Well, before you go on, you think, Mr. Nibs, that they throw that number out there because they're going to late? And
No, sir.
okay, they're just normally high price.
I think they charge you for the brand.
That's what it is.
And you don't need to buy a Porsche to drive from your house to the post office to check the mail.
Thank you, Trustee Calwood.
I'm with you. Okay.
I know these guys because I've worked with them before. They were the auditors for the government when I was at Finance Plus. They were the auditors for GRS. So I know them. I didn't remember them, but they told me they know me and all that. And I recollect some of them. But,
Yes, you're right, Mr. Nibs. They were working with us maybe
Correct.
before you came.
Right. So, and I worked with them for 8 years at Finance. So, but anyway, it's out of line. It's totally out of line.
Clearly.
Yeah. Okay. So, there's no way I could even do anything about that. But anyway, we did start some preliminary due diligence on S&B. We submitted requests for references from letters from 4 of the clients mentioned above. We requested letters from these clients here. And we are waiting those. And also staff want to do an on-site due diligence, which is required. But S&B audit office, we want to do that within the next 30 days. I think I would like a team of the CFO, the investment analyst, if he can make it, and general counsel and myself to do a site visit, what we call kicking the tires. We go there and we interview them, we walk around, we talk to their staff, and they're going to ask us a lot of questions. There are a lot of things they need to know in regards to our systems. They did ask some questions before, but I think since we have seen their portfolio, obviously, of the clients that they have, we need to ask them some questions about the accounting part of it. Kathy also would have to talk to them about how we're going to handle the settlement agreement and things like that, and what it is, and blah, blah, blah. So we would like to do that within the next 30 days. Then we would come back to the board and give board our opinion as to our visit, and also with the references, letters that we have. I would recommend that the board maybe participate in also a due diligence with the principal partner. He can either come down here or you can do it by Zoom, but I think the board would want to probably participate and ask some questions. You don't have to, but I would think that the board would want to, discuss certain things with them. Also, I think if they are selected, they should be invited to the board retreat. Also, to get them acclimated to the investment side of it, the actuarial side of what they're up against. So in essence, what I'm saying, my recommendation would be for the board to authorize the management to complete the due diligence of S&B company. Result to audit the GRS for the period of 5 years, beginning FY 2021 to 2025, and report its findings to the board, which would then give the authorization to the management to execute engagement contract and engagement letters. That's my recommendation.
A few things, Mr. Nibs. First of all, what does the code require with respect to the external auditor?
The code requires that the external auditor can serve for 5 years from a recognized national auditing firm.
Okay, and it's your representation to the board that they meet those requirements.
That's correct.
All right. Hand off from Bud Smith to, I guess we could just go ahead and call him S&B company. What's that process? And could that
Well, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
could that be expedited? Here's where I'm going with this. We're now in pretty much the end of April. By the time you're done your due diligence, it'll be May. So we almost 3/4 of a year past the end of the last fiscal year, and we haven't started the audit. And I'm concerned about that. Obviously, I understand, and so that's not here and there at this point in time, except is there an approach that we could have that could make up for that time? How do you see that? I'm very much concerned about I have a fear.
That based on the experience of this firm, you can see what they're up against. They're not dealing with small dollars here. They're dealing with big companies with volume. I would think, and based on my discussion with the principal, that they're ready to go. Obviously, there has to be discussion between the predecessor, which would be Burt Smith and Company, and this company passing on work papers and discussions. But if they are auditing big firms like that, they are aware of GASB situation. They're working with actuaries, they're working with investment people. So I think they have the experience to grasp the information that we put to them. Now, the law requires that it should be completed within 120 days after the fiscal year. I think if they come on, let's say in June, let's say, because they have to mobilize, within 120 days, they should have complete.
120 days from last September put us to when?
Yes, but I'm saying to you that if they come on in June, they should be complete within 120 days after that.
Okay, so no.
The law states that an audit should be completed 120 days after the fiscal year.
Yes, Mr. Nez, my question is, what is that date?
Well,
that date is what? Is it June this year or July? I mean,
it will be June this. Let's say, for instance, if we gave them a contract, let's say in June.
That's not my question, Mr. Nez.
Okay, fine.
I believe it will be January.
Well, that's what I'm trying to 120 days after the fiscal year, October, November, December, January. January.
Okay. So where I'm heading with this, so if for us to stay strictly within the law, would have had to have done the audit by the end of January.
2022. Yes.
2020. We're now in April 2020. And we're looking to start in June 2022, best case. Now, how many days they need after June when we sign on to complete? And my only question is whether that number of days could be compressed.
I would recommend it because number one, this is their first time. Number two, I'm assuming, I think that if our unaudited financial is completed and ready to go, Ms. Jeremiah can attest to this. It's also them coordinating with the predecessor auditor, which is Burt Smith and Company. They may have questions, they need to see work papers and things like that. I feel based on what I've seen here, based on the experience that they have, I think it could be completed within 120 days after the June.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, yeah, we are head of the government of the Virgin Islands. And when I came here, we were when I came here, we were 3 years behind. And we have
no, Mr. Nibs, that's a low bar.
No, well, what I'm saying, I cannot do anything about it.
You're not listening to me, Mr. Nick. I'm not blaming you. I'm not saying, all I'm saying to you is I have a fear, a phobia about late financial statements. And I understand why we're late. So I'm not going there. I'm just trying to see if is there a way we could reduce the lateness. That's all I'm trying to get at.
I wouldn't pressure a new auditor to do something like that. If we can, maybe what we can do is we can, if they are acceptable to it, but I would think as a new person, they want to come to the site to look around and things like that.
Could we ask them?
Well, this is something that we would have to do in our due diligence. We would ask them about that. Maybe we can give them digital records where they don't have to be visiting the office like that. We have done it with Burt Smith and Company.
Okay.
But I don't want to guarantee anything less than 120 days.
I wasn't asking you for guarantee, and besides, the 120 days start last September, not January. Right?
But can I say something? I don't know what's wrong with the government of the Virgin Islands, but their 2020 hasn't been even issued. And we are ready to issue our 2021 in 121 days, even ahead of them. So our goal is to always be ahead. We're going to try the best that we can do to have them issue it within 20 days.
Wait, Mr. Nims. Two things. Please don't use the government of the Virgin Islands as the standard.
No, we're not.
Oh, okay.
That's why we are ahead.
Secondly, explain to me what the 121 days, because I am interpreting the 121 days to be 120 days after the end of the fiscal year. Our fiscal year ended September.
I said that already, sir.
So how could you finish within 120 days? If you're already
from June, the financial statements have already been prepared to give to the auditor. If we engage them in June, July, August, September, October, by October, it should be completed.
Am I the only one missing it? Somebody help me here.
No, what Mr. Nibbs is saying is that he's given them 120 days from the date we enter into a contract with them for them to complete the audit.
Okay, thank you. Hold it.
I said that before.
So what did the law say? What did Mr. Nibbs say the law required?
The law requires 120 days after the fiscal year ends.
So when does the fiscal year end?
But we know that the fiscal year ended September, but that's a different year. We are auditing 2021. Fiscal year ends 2022, that's a different year. And they will be able to catch up, hopefully catch up to 2022. We will have to complete our financials to be able to catch up to be completed 2022 in 120 days. And I know it's not going to be done. So I would think in 2022 audit will probably be completed maybe about March 2023.
I give up.
Well, okay, maybe I'm in top. I mean, I've been dealing with this for 40 years, so I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, how more? Our FY 2021 audit is behind already because of the change in the auditor.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the
Correct. So I'm saying if we get this new auditor to audit 2021, which has not been audited, if he starts in June, let's say we get a contract done, he starts in June, hopefully by October, he'll be complete FY 2021. FY 2022 ends September 30th, 2022. We have to compile our statements and have the unaudited statements done. Hopefully we will have him complete the 2022 audit by March 2023 or April 2023. Maybe Ms. Jeremiah can
let's move on.
I think we kind of the puppy kind of chasing the tail. I have to say with Mr. Nibbs in terms of as a new firm coming in to do an audit, for the first time. I agree with him. I wouldn't want to kind of pressure them to be crunching anytime and stuff like that. I think the first go round will take more time than the subsequent years. You know, with respect to the 120 days that the law requires, we are already beyond that, and unfortunately, we can't turn back the hands of time. We are late, and we're going to be late. But I have to say with Mr. Nips in terms of not pressuring a new auditor to, you know what I mean, to kind of try to compress time during the first go round. That's just my 2 cents.
Mr. Nips, is the board Smith in Maryland as well?
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
they
they
could coordinate up there with them as well, right?
yeah, it's no problem. That's the work papers are not here. They're up at Bert Smith. They can coordinate electronically. They can discuss. They're going to meet. They're going to have to meet. There's a process involved, you know, and I don't know how much more.
Let me put my question different. I'm sorry. Finish, Miss.
No, I'm finished. I'm finished.
Now, Miss Smith, you answering a question. Trustee Smith.
No, I was saying it shouldn't be a problem because they have offices in the same area, in the same state, but Mr. Nips already answered the question.
Okay, so I have one last question for you, Mr. Nips. Given where we are today, what would you venture to be a likely completion date for the 2021 audit?
I would say again, based on the experience that I've seen, the clients that he have, I think it would be sometime in October.
Okay, thank you. That's the 2021 audit you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you're not asking for what are you requesting of us today?
Just to give me authorization to do the due diligence of this company. And we'll come back to you with a report. And that the board probably meet with you can have the person come here, the board can do it by Zoom. I'm sure the board may have questions, I don't know. We're gonna ask as much questions as possible. The reason why is because Ms. Jeremiah and myself are the ones that signs the engagement letter and the management representation letter. But the board may want to ask questions. And after we came with our report, then the board can authorize me to enter into agreement with this company.
Okay.
I am satisfied, Ms. Jeremiah is satisfied, but we need to do our due diligence.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have maybe one comment on the recommendation. Given that we're dealing with a new entity that we don't have a relationship with, my concern is whether or not we want to commit ourselves to a 5-year contract. Even though the law says we could do that, it may make more sense to do a 1 or 2 year contract unless that's going to change the fees or something like that, and then see how the relationship pans out before we commit ourselves to a 5-year contract.
Mr. Chairman, I totally disagree. This was in the RFP. We have done this all the time with all our auditors. Let us move forward with what we advertised for. We see the experience of this company. Let us move forward and with what they committed and what they responded to.
And Mr. Chairman, we can put a provision in the contract that we can terminate the contract for cause or something like that.
Anytime.
I was just going to say that. So
yes,
I think Pedro, the 5-year contract is almost standard nowadays. As you've heard from Trustee Caldwell, the first year is going to be a learning curve, and the audits get more efficient and more effective as they learn more they know about the entity, the more efficient the audit is. So I was going to say that I think we should do the 5-year term, especially in addition to the points that Mr. Nib said about that what we advertised for. And as Kathy said, I mean, if something outrageous that, I mean, there must be a way we could terminate if there's some kind of outrageous action or inaction. So I'm good with the 5 years. That's just, I don't know if any other board members are.
So do we
I think
vote
we
now?
just take to the 5 years too.
I agree with the 5 years. So we
Okay,
need to make a motion?
so you need a motion, Mr. Neves, to authorize you to further to do what? What you want the motion to say?
Authorize management to complete the due diligence of F&B LLC proposal to audit the GRS that is pending report and report its findings to the board.
Okay,
So move.
moved and seconded.
Second,
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Trustee Calwood,
yes.
trustee Dorsey,
He's not, he's absent.
absent. Trustee Liger,
Yeah,
trustee McDonald, absent. Trustee Russell, absent. Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Barry,
Yes.
4 yes, 3 absent.
Okay. It's all up to you now. It's all up to you now.
Are we ready to go?
Okay, good. All right, so time for executive session.
Sir,
Get a motion, please.
Motion, Mr. Chair, move that we go into executive session to discuss matters pertaining to trade secrets, financial, commercial information, or personal legal matters or matters whose premature disclosure will frustrate the implementation of the proposed agency action. I so move.
You got a second?
Second.
Roll call?
trustee Calwood,
Yes.
trustee Dorsey, absent. Trustee Liger,
yeah,
trustee McDonald, absent. Trustee Russell, absent. Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Barry,
Yes.
4 yes, 3 absent.
Okay. So we're now into executive session. All right, so to report out of the executive session, during executive session, the board approved a term sheet for the ground lease, for a ground lease, Haven Hotel development. The board authorized management to negotiate a lease extension for the Port of Sale Mall, of the Port of Sale Mall lease, well, it's a lease extension. The board made a decision in the appeal of Mary Duggan, and parties will be notified in a decision and order. That covers it? Okay.
Yes.
So,
A motion to adjourn.
yes, sir.
I move that we adjourn.
Second,
Roll call?
Calwood,
yes.
trustee Dorsey, absent. Trustee Liger, trustee Liger, trustee McDonald, absent. Trustee Russell, trustee Russell,
Yes, yes, yeah, yes.
trustee Smith, absent. Chairman Barry,
Yes.
trustee Liger, trustee Liger, absent. We have 3 yes and 4 absent.
So,
So if you lost your quorum, the meeting's over.
Yeah.
Yep.
okay. All right. So
Good night, Carnival, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks everybody. This has been a lengthy one, but I think we got some stuff done today. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys having me. Bye.